Cheers everyone, Grandma's handbag back again before the Christmas craziness. Thank you so much for joining us everyone. Vinyl finds tonight, a little bit of VCL thrown in as well, but a little bit of housekeeping just after we get into the helper, which is very much needed. I'm starting to put a little bit of a shine on the forehead there, due to the heat. So what we got, it's an Australian, I think from Adelaide, South Australia, Pirate Life Brewing. This is their double IPA, 8.8%, and because it's Pirate Life, they call it an IIPA. Yeah, look, I've got nothing better than that, so I'll just content myself with dodgy jokes on cans of beer. Nice stuff, but it's, I mean, I don't know how you American folk can drink the double IPAs day in, day out at 8.8% and hugely hopped. It's a one drink only. I'll be what we call in Australia a two-pot screamer after this can, I tell you what. Anyway, we're listening firstly to Black Cab. This is a reissue, 2019. Came out, Altamont Diary. So what it is basically, I tend to keep most of my Aussie records separate for the promised video that still isn't coming, maybe over Christmas, let's hope. But reissued just in time for the 50th anniversary of Altamont. Originally put out in 2004, and it's basically an imagined soundtrack to Altamont by a group called Black Cab. They got a little bit of traction overseas with this. Anyways, anyone in the Brian Jonestown Massacre sort of vein, obviously a more cinematic version with a little more synths going on. Very, very good stuff. You might hear it coming through. They do a cover of New Speedway Boogie, Grateful Dead in there. And they might even get a quote or some samples of Sam Cutler. I know they definitely did on their next album, which I actually kind of enjoy even more than this, called Jesus East, never been released on CD. Anyway, really, really good to have this lovely coloured vinyl there as well. And I'm just showing a Joel Selvin book that I read probably about this time last year. Very, very interesting book on Altamont and trying to pin some blame on things. Anyway, next things first, next things, I've been a little bit out of sorts. Actually been getting pretty down about what's been happening in Australia climate-wise with bushfires. I'm sure some of you have heard, but it's dragged on for weeks to the point where there's been several weeks where you literally haven't been able to see the sun in the sky or any definition of clouds going on, and it's quite a scary thing to see. There's some pictures or that here of just what's sort of been burnt out either in the state or one individual fire and overlaid onto London and New York, and it's quite a sizable amount of stuff. So yeah, just very scary stuff, I have to say, put simply. So that hasn't made me as present in the VC as I want, and I do apologise for that. It actually takes a little bit of to get the energy up to do all of these, but look, yeah, so sorry for that. Secondly, I missed shouting out, and I need to shout out Tone Scott. Tone's been doing a wonderful series on his the history and of his local record stores in the LA area. Now, he's been telling me for some time that LA is the greatest place on earth to dig for vinyl records, and judging by his videos, I'll leave a link down below. It's a series that's seriously worth checking out. He might well be on the money. I thought Japan was in the running, but Tone's video is fantastic. He just gets in amongst, you know, years and years of history, knows the owners and the people that have worked there long times, you know, and then he takes you through that history. Very, very convivial discussions with the owners and things, and then shows you sort of some of the things he's picking up in the stores as well. So a great, great watch, and we all look forward for more of Tone's. He's got some things planned and in store for us, so looking forward to those, Tone. And lastly, the man of the moment, I'm sure we're about to see some Christmas goodness from Steve Carlson. Actually sent through some VCLT, which is just incredible stuff. Over here, look, I've held on to this for nearly 2 weeks, Steve. I'm absolutely sorry about this. And it's incredible because this thing came out to Australia from Midwest America in, I think, roughly 6 or 7 days. So, Steve, I don't know what you fed that pigeon, but I'm sure it's illegal in 49 states at least. Anyway, I have no idea what's going in here. I've pre-opened, but I haven't looked. So we're going in right now. This is incredibly packed, by the way. This is next level stuff. You know, look, we can actually use this air in Australia because it's cleaner than the stuff out there at the moment. I'm going to save those for a good hit later on. Alright, signature Steve artwork. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you, Steve. That melts my heart. Wonderful stuff. Alright, we've got some, oh my goodness, some beautifully, absolutely beautifully wrapped records in here. Look at this next level stuff. Can I just quickly show you that? Look at that. Unbelievable. I'm going to have to do a lot better on my packing, I tell you. Anyway, I'll get to the card. Maybe I'll get to it now, and if there's things too personal, we'll slow this down. Anyway, this is gold. Hi Dean, first off, a huge thank you for your friendship, support in the VC along with your beer reviews. I appreciate all of it. Second, I've always wanted to send something to Australia. There has been something missing in my life, and I feel this is the missing piece. Well, I'm just so happy to oblige, Steve. I hope you enjoy. Aha, there's a spoiler in here. Anyway, the other two you may have, but if not, both are artists I really like and collect. Again, a huge thank you. No, thank you, Steve, really, for bringing me back at you there. A ton of enjoyment. I'll visit Australia one day and we can have kangaroo steaks. Happy holiday. Steve, we'll certainly have kangaroo steaks. I'll even help you hunt them down if we need to. Too kind. Far too kind, Steve. Anyway, let's jump into this. So I did read the spoiler there. I'm sorry, but I'm actually really, really thrilled on what you said's coming. I'm going to rip into this like it's Christmas morning. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to, but I'm doing it. Yes, so here we go. Endless Boogie, Volumes 1 and 2, the reissue of the first 2 private issue LPs. Steve, this is fantastic. I don't have any Endless Boogie. It's one I've been watching Steve absolutely enthuse over, and I just know this is going to be the right place for this one, based on what Steve said about him. Thank you so much, Steve. That's incredible. Double LP set. I can't believe it. That's just too much, too kind. And now we've got 2 more as well. See, just when I thought I had the wrapping thing down pat, I'll make a slit here and there. No, Steve gone and wrapped each one individually. But look, the effort is just absolutely appreciated. Okay, what's the back here? Howl and Win, Graham Parker. Alright. Ooh, we got a demonstration not for sale disc there too. Gold stamp on there. Again, I'm pretty new on Graham Parker. I think I've got up the down escalator, so I know this is featured in your 100, or if not this one, at least one Graham Parker. So thank you, Steve. It's like being under your tutelage to have that sent through. Cannot wait to have a listen. And lastly, I'm going to rip again. It's just too exciting. Sorry to keep the delay here, everyone. Alright. Oh, lovely stuff. We've got Emmylou Harris and Elite Hotel. Definitely one I don't have here. Absolutely love that cover. There's just something very, very homey about the almost what do you call it, wallpaper on the background there. Emmylou is just looking quite the part in the Elite Hotel. Visions of an Americana I can only sort of imagine or dream of here. And I guess what, 75, so this has got to be very early, if not her first. Steve, that's incredible. Emmylou Harris is an artist I've sort of shared with my dad, less so me listening to them, but introducing her to my dad, or reintroducing her, and he went absolutely nuts for her. So I've long wanted Emmylou on vinyl to play in the background when Dad comes around, and you can bet this is going to go on the turntable then. Steve, thank you so much. Incredible stuff. Really appreciate it. There's stuff coming back to you, Steve, and you can be sure of that. I'll just need to try and pick a... I've already got some of it picked out, and just spoiler alert for you, it may have something to do with this side of the equation here. But yes, there's things underfoot. I'll get that away. Probably in the new year. I'll need to pick a few cooler days to make sure it gets through the heat here okay. But it's happening. Alright, thrift shop. Op shop. I think I've been saying thrift for the US folks when I actually mean Goodwill. So in Australia we call them op shops, opportunity shops. In the UK, charity shops. America, Goodwill, as far as I can tell, or thrift. Anyway, just some things that have been clogging up the inbox. Mainly got this for the cover art. I just think that's fantastic. It's a little box, 2 LP box, and you've got music from the films Fantasia and Clockwork Orange, because those two go perfectly together, don't they? Anyway, so on EMI, HMV, I think this is an early 70s box set, 72 or so. But yeah, couple of bucks. Had to grab it. Likewise, this one, 60 original artists, British pop collection. So there's actually a pretty good selection of artists and things on here. I don't know whether it's worth seeing. I mean, they've licensed, Rolling Stones on there. If there's no Beatles, I'd be very surprised. But anyway, if anyone wasn't going to be there, it's that. Then you've got, other things like Lily the Pink, The Scaffold, all over the shop for the 60s. Anyway, 10 tracks per side, so it's not going to be great quality, but yeah, look, good little blurbs and things on each one. And look, it's probably less than $2 a record, I think, for that. So, beautiful condition, and had to bring it home. These ones, not much to say, except I haven't heard. Very interesting. 50 cents, had to grab it. Folks like Chris, Blues Guy Vinyl, have shown this, but it's got that original, or for Australia it might be close to original. It's even got some RCA reading material I've missed there. So we've got, actually it might not be a first press RCA label there, but still a 60s press. So 50 cents for Belafonte. We'll have a listen, see how that goes. Phase 4 stereo for some romantic Rachmaninoff. I do like a cover like that. 50 cents, flip back sleeve, Phase 4 stereo. Gotta bring it home. This one a little more, $4, but then again, I think this is a late 1950s or early 60s press. Sarah Vaughan, Sassy. It's on the Mercury label. I was actually really hoping for the MRC as the main label, but no biggie. Still that beautiful Mercury label there. And just most of these are in pretty lovely condition. There's VG pluses mostly at a minimum, so hard to leave behind. This one fit that bill as well. Nat King Cole, After Midnight. This is actually, if you can see on there, Japanese press or repress, 1970s. There you go. Palings was, I think, a large, I don't know if it was just, yeah, no, it was a music store. They were also a music publisher. Anyway, there's that 70s Capitol label. It's actually got a little P sticker, that, I don't know if you can see that on there, which they use for promo. So maybe this was never officially sold, this copy, but other ones in Australia made it through. Yeah, so lovely thing. There's a tiny bit of ripping on the cover, which is pasted on, but 50 cents. Let's go with that. I think this was about $2 or $3. 80s repress of Ricky Nelson. I think this might actually be one with an additional track or two. So 6 tracks each side. The original might have been 5 tracks. Anyway, very short, sweet album. 1950s rockabilly, pop. You know, plenty of lovely slapback echo on there. And it's on the Axis label, which is a budget label, kind of like a music for pleasure that was big in Australia anyway. Alright, this one I haven't heard, but a very interesting one to see. RAG, Ray Arnott Group, Rock and Roll. Now this is on the famous by Australian standards anyway, Albert's label. So it's a Vander and Young executive production. I forget exactly where Ray Arnott fits into the Albert's Vander and Young story. If anyone knows that, let me know. I don't know if he turned up in Buffalo or a band like that in the early 70s, but if you do know, shout out. Haven't even heard this one, too new in, but yeah, worth a pickup. 1984, I think that was. He had a better known album in the late 70s. Alright, stepping it up a little bit here on the ones that I've been pretty excited to catch. Scritti Politti, Songs to Remember. Just grabbed this the other day on my birthday, in fact. So very happy birthday to me. Not in amazing condition with the cover. There's a little bit of wear things there and around here, but this is on Rough Trade in the UK, I believe. In Australia it was on the Epic label, which is kind of interesting to see. This needs a good clean. It's not looking in great condition, to be honest. It's going to be a VG at best, maybe. But look, just something you don't find around. I think I've found, the only other one I found is Cupid and Psyche 85. So earlier Scritti Politti, had to jump in and yeah, just see how it goes. It's $4, 4 Australian dollars, so you know, less than 3 American dollars, just over £2. Likewise with this one, which was very, very exciting to grab. Billy Bragg, Talking with a Taxman About Poetry. The Difficult third album. And whereas I think it used to have a UK recommended retail, love Billy for doing that. $12.99 Australian, and I think that original price there, $13. Looks like they didn't, they overstepped it by 1 cent, hey? Anyway, we'll take off that cancer-causing cover. Probably nothing we're not showing, or I'm showing that's not already there. But this might be a slightly different label. I think it is. Yep. And not in bad condition, that one, actually. Liberation Records in Australia. But yeah, very, very happy. This is one of my favourite, possibly my favourite Billy Bragg album. So very, very excited to have caught that one, Talking with a Taxman About Poetry. Okay, getting into some interesting stuff here, and hopefully it don't take too long. This one was right up there with some of the most I've ever paid for a Goodwill vinyl, but I guess you'll see why in just a second. The Beatles, a collection of Beatles oldies. So $15, pick that up there. There's a tiny little bit of ripping and watermarks and things on the cover. So maybe it wasn't, you know, a great price for this. But the interesting thing was I checked on Discogs, and there was no vinyl mono copy of this listed, Australian copy. So this is an Australian mono press, first press. Plenty of little hairline scratches on here, but you know, these lovely thick 1960s records. So this came out, I think, November 66. And yeah, I mean, any compilation of Beatles could almost be a greatest hits. So I suppose this is a greatest hits of sorts. But November 66, I mean, that's within 3 to 4 months. And you got songs like Yellow Submarine, Eleanor Rigby, you know, there's some really, really good, We Can Work It Out. A lot of songs here that have come out on Revolver and Rubber Soul making up the way to this. So it's a fantastic compilation of stuff. That said, if I'd found it on stereo, I'm not sure I would have grabbed it. But the mono version really, really intrigued me. I don't think a mono press would have gone into represses in Australia. So very, very good to have that one. All right, a couple more we got here. This one, absolutely no idea on this. $3, but with a cover like this, Duster Bennett vocals, harmonica and guitar. Very, very hard to leave that behind. But what really sold it for me? The Toadstool label. Toadstool I've come across because it's basically a blues imprint with Alexis Corner of Blues Incorporated, the UK blues scene. Had his fingers in the pie on this Australian label. I've got 2 LPs by Hound Dog Taylor on this local label, so really, really surprised to see Toadstool turn up. Once I saw that and Alexis Corner, well, I knew this thing had to come home with me, and turned out actually, I haven't played this yet, so I'm really, really interested to see. Emma at 8 Vinyl Low, if you know this guy or anything about him, maybe, because I feel like it could be in your wheelhouse for sure, with the Blue Horizon label background for him. You know, there's plenty of names coming through on here. Peter Frampton on guitar, Nicky Hopkins on piano. Just some really, really special names turning up here as well. If any of you know more about this album, please let me know. I get the feeling I'm going to be in for a bit of a treat with this one. But for $3, look, there's a little bit of that laminate lifting on the edges. Some ring wear on the back. The edges, not amazing, but the record looks in beautiful condition. So very excited to have that. But let me know if you guys know Duster Bennett. Love to hear more from you about this. Alright, this last one was a bit of a shock to me. Everything I can tell is it's an original US press, and it's in pretty stunning condition, I have to say. For $4, Otis Blue, Otis Redding. Stereo copy. And just, again, like I said, just shocked to see this. You just don't get Aussie, US presses of these in Australia, so it makes me think that someone has specifically back then bought this for the collection, and it just blows my mind. The only real problem with the cover, there's a tiny bit of water damage or that on the back there, tiny marks here, but really, who's going to complain about that? And the record's in gorgeous condition, minimum VG plus. Or even better, it just came up a dream. So Vault 412, can't believe that I found this in the old Goodwill, in the Thrift, the charity, the op, whatever you're going to call it. Still delivering, I can't believe it. You know, maybe not the massive hauls. This is a few months worth of buys. Well, actually, most of them have been in the past sort of month or so. So maybe on a minor streak with this stuff. But anyway, couldn't be happier with a whole bunch of those finds. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much everyone for checking in for the ramble. Steve Carlson, far too generous. Stop drugging pigeons. And I'm going to have to do it right back to you pretty soon. But look, take care everyone. I do want to bring in some new music sometime over Christmas or New Year. Just some things that I've been rattling around the head as well. Just need to find the right words for them. But in the meantime, you're left with this stocking stuffer. Cheers to you all. Take care. Talk to you soon. See you later.